My name is Jonathan Loper. I'm going to go over WANs, LANs, IPv4, port sockets, and network address translation, but it's going to be made simple, so don't worry. So, IPv4 specifically, addresses. So just like with sending mail, the internet uses unique addresses to keep track of where things go. Computers speak binaries, ones and zeros, and IPv4 addresses are 32 bits. So because we know that, smart people have told us there's a formula 2 to the 32nd, which is about 4 billion addresses. Sounds like a lot until you realize there are 8 billion people in the world, and not only that, every device needs its own IP address. Every phone, computer, smart device, you name it. And there simply aren't enough. And so what's the solution to that? Using public and private IP addresses. And we're going to get into the weeds on that here in a little bit, but essentially that allows one organization to use one public address and then recycle private addresses within their organization instead of taking up a bunch of globally unique IP addresses for all of their devices. So, what is a LAN? Local area network. Basically, all of your devices can communicate without the internet to one another. And so basically all of your devices are within one network or subnet on this side of the router using their private IP addresses. And then on the other side of that router, facing the internet, is that public IP address that we just talked about earlier. When you're communicating between the public IP addresses there, you're actually communicating on a WAN, a wide area network. What makes this work is something called network address translation. And this translates between these public and private IP addresses. Right here, you can see the public IP address. Think about that like the city, and everything that is destined for that city can then be sorted out from a distribution center, but before that, it has to get to the city in the first place. Your private IP address is more like your street address. Once it's been sorted out, it can then be distributed to where exactly it is it needs to go. And if you're going to get really specific, you have ports. These are almost like a label of what room the specific thing needs to go to. Like the blender needs to go to the kitchen. Port numbers combined with IP addresses give us something that's called a socket. And multiple sockets means that one computer can have multiple applications running over the internet at one time, but it knows exactly what information goes where. And so if the servers are on a WAN and they can only see your public address, how do they know where to send the sockets? The answer to that is the network address table. And so it's kind of like a post office. A better analogy might be a distribution center, as you can see right here. And essentially, all of the mail for the city or the public socket is going to get sent here first, like we talked about. And then they're going to check where it should be distributed based on the local street address or that private socket. When sending a request to that external server, your private socket is logged in that network address table right here. And then it's translated to a public facing socket. And that's what that server is actually seeing and responding to, is that public socket. Then when it gets to that router, it's going to hit that network address table and be translated back. It's going to say, I know which private sockets to send that to. And it's going to end up right back in the place that it needs to be. This allows each client IP address to have multiple applications running at once across the internet instead of having that one public address that you're having to wait for each individual application to use. It also allows for multiple devices to use that public address at once. So you can have your computer and your phone and whatever smart devices you want. They can all be communicating at once. And that information is not going to get lost in the sauce, so to speak. It's going to get exactly where it needs to go. This is one of the solutions to us running out of IPv4 addresses. while we transition to IPv6, don't worry, kind of outside of the scope of this presentation. Now you understand the basics of how computers use their IP stack and dynamic network address translation, specifically port address translation, in order to get information exactly where it needs to go and be able to have all of that concurrent activity occurring.